Hello everybody and welcome to my review for Bullet in the Head. This is my third Hong Kong movie from John Woo. I'm currently doing a series of Hong Kong movies from Jackie Chan, Jet Li, John Woo, etc. Just trying to deep diving into that kind of genre, into that kind of world of cinema. And recently I watched Hard Boiled and The Killer. I previously did a review for that. Please go and check that out and see your thoughts and opinions on that. And this is the third one that I've watched out of his collection lineup that I got access to. And Bullet in the Head does not disappoint. Bullet in the Head is a very unique and very different film from John Woo in my opinion. This is a very different type of film compared to Hard Boiled and The Killer. I think they're more traditional, sort of ish in terms of a Hong Kong movie, with typical revenge type stuff. This film I think is a bit more personal. I think it's a bit more of a specific journey. It's a tale between three best friends, three characters that kind of grew up together in Hong Kong. They've been friends for 12 plus years. They're laughing, they will do anything for each other. One gets in a fight, the other one will pick up a bottle and join them. And it really cements the idea of these kind of three inseparable people that will do anything for each other and love each other no matter what. And they get into a bit of trouble during the start of the film. They have to kind of go to Vietnam to kind of make some money and to kind of get out of heat a little bit, and the film kind of goes from there. This film starts off as a kind of a buddy kind of drama, kind of comedy, very light with its music and its editing. It shows the kind of Hong Kong British kind of riots that were going on, because I think at the time in the UK were having control over a lot of Hong Kong assets, and it shows the violence and what was going on during that time. It goes into kind of a very nasty kind of approach in terms of the Vietnam War. It's showing the people that are making money off Vietnam. The more the gangsters, the more the people that have a lot of control, and how the more the imports, selling kind of weapons and kind of medicine and various other kind of products. The film is a drama throughout the entire film, and our three main characters are kind of explored and how they kind of adapt in terms of their personality, in terms of their motivation, in terms of how they handle what the situation is happening to them. And the film's very heavy on brutal, nasty violence in terms of the kind of knives and the blood squibs and the gun violence, and how people can get killed very easily. People can get killed over nothing, how life is practically nothing in that sense. And this is kind of established very early on through the kind of British Hong Kong riots. Same with Vietnam, with the soldiers kind of grabbing stores and people being shot at just to make a point. And it's kind of showing this nasty, horrible world. And if you're a lower class person in that world and you're getting screwed over, which these characters have been screwed over quite a few times in terms of their life, in terms of the choices they made, there is an interesting kind of shift in terms of their focus, in terms of where they kind of set their goals to. One character is wants what's owed to them, in a sense, wants their fame and fortune, wants to kind of rob and to kind of get rich. And friendship means nothing because it doesn't mean anything in this world kind of thing. It's just about yourself and being number one. And one person wants to do the right thing, who cares so much about everyone, cares about life, doesn't want to kill kind of thing. And that kind of is an interesting arc to them. Another one is trying to keep the situation together, keep everyone together and help as many people as he can possible throughout the entire film, which obviously doesn't go right. It was a fantastic sequence during the middle part of the film where it's very hard-boiled with the gangsters and the guns, the blood scripts, the kind of action that happens. It's absolutely fantastic. It's probably like really kick-ass. Considering this is pre-Hard Boiled and The Killer, this is one of his early movies, he definitely does not hold back. I guarantee John Woo is one of those directors that doesn't take no for an answer. If he wants to blow up a building, if he wants to blow a whole area up, if he wants more blood scripts, he wants more fucking gun violence, I guarantee he just films it and does it anyway. It's a very crucial part of the film in terms of where the characters are, in terms of establishing where they're at in terms of their mindset, in terms of their motivation. One wants to try and save this woman, tries to get out of the country. Another one is trying to get the gold. Another one is just there to support his friends and try and help out this fellow hitman that also wants to get out of the game. And everyone has got some sort of motivational play going on, which you got this fantastic hitman character in the film, which is very similar to kind of The Killer and Hard Boiled. This is kind of where the kind of planting the seeds, the early groundwork of that kind of idea comes from. And you can tell from the level of action sequences and the moves and the things this character does is definitely inspired to the later part of the movies with Hard Boiled and The Killer. This character's fantastic, it's awesome. He definitely becomes potentially a fourth character, almost in a weird way. The film quickly changes into a Vietnam movie, and the scale of it, the look of it, and it just changes completely. Like, you got some fantastic shots, big epic explosions, you got helicopters, traditional Vietnam sequences where characters are forced to do things like kill people or for games and sport. You've got a senseless violence, you've got a sense of the kind of Vietnam War, what's going on at the time, trying to find out who these kind of three characters that stumble upon their camp, you know, why have they got gold, why have they got documents, and the film in terms of establishing, you know, where characters are, what they're up to, and without getting into spoilers too much, a big shift happens in that film, betrayal happens, which is quite epic, and seeing that kind of journey happen with the specific character is really interesting. The film changes yet again to the aftermath of the Vietnam War, the aftermath of everything that's happened, and where these characters are at this point, and it's very dark, it's very somber, it's very unforgiving in terms of, you know, where it is. It's very emotional as well. There's some really gut-wrenching sequences, and if you invest in these characters, you've been following the journey and where they've gone and what they've done, and, you know, establishing this kind of friendship. And it's some really hard sequences towards the end of the film, which I think is really solidifies. The last act of the film is so unbelievably 80s that I was actually crying in laughter, in the good way for sure. The music, the kind of the atmosphere, the car chase sequences, the kind of the gunplay, the one-on-one, it is so grounded, defined 80s in that moment. That last 25 minutes, it is fantastic, and the film changes quite a lot to get to that point, and in terms of where the characters are and their journey you see go through, and the fact that you can go from a kind of drama, kind of like buddy type stuff, to a war movie, to a gangster film, to eventually lead into that is absolutely incredible. I think it's a very special kind of talent you have to change your film kind of 3 or 4 times to get to something like that. And when you get to that final act, you understand everything that's happened prior to it, and it really makes a difference. The film really deep dives into kind of low class and high class, and people try and get their own, and how friendship is more important than kind of money or success, and, you know, how some people can break under pressure, and how they can deal with violence, or deal with kind of like, you know, the nature of the world at that time kind of thing. The world is on fire, literally, very similar to 2020, and it's crazy. And these kind of 3 characters are put to the test, unbelievably so, unforgivingly so, and it makes for a fantastic cinema experience unlike anything I've quite seen under a Hong Kong movie. This is a very unique, very interesting 3 character story driven movie. What would you do under pressure? What would you be like? Would you be that character? It really challenges those ideas and those mores. And the consequences of your actions are really heavy in this film in terms of everything that happens. And the film really escalates those points very clearly towards the kind of final act of the film. Overall, Bullet in the Head is a very personal, very unique, very different type of action, John Woo type movie. It definitely delivers his signature kind of style in terms of his camera work. It's absolutely incredible the way he kind of does his shots. I think his scoring is fantastic. I think the action level is brilliant. It definitely has a sense of escalation in terms of high stakes, and it works with the characters, it works with the story and the progression. I think the character work is absolutely incredible in this film. I think it definitely highlights a lot about kind of friendship and about greed and about how people change over time, and how you can be best friends with someone, you know, 10 years ago and they can be a completely different person now. It definitely highlights a lot of the themes of friendship in that sense, but also deals with kind of modern politics about Vietnam War and the statements about that, and how senseless violence and in war life is worthless. People are doing assassinations, bomb missions, suicide bomb missions, and, you know, it kind of highlights the brutal nature of the world. If you liked Hardboiled, if you like The Killer, Bullet in the Head will not disappoint you. It's a really fantastic viewing. It's a great drama, it's a great action film, it's a great revenge movie. I think there's so many different layers, so many different things going on in this film. It's a film that needs to be talked about more, it's a film that needs to be shared, and thanks to the Hong Kong Rescue new 4K transfer coming soon, hopefully, I'm really excited to see this in a more high definition picture with better sound. The DVD is actually pretty good in terms of picture quality, but I think the audio is a bit miffy. It's definitely worth picking up if you can cheap. Bullet in the Head is definitely in my top 3 John Woo movies of all time. That's been my review for Bullet in the Head. Let me know, guys, what your thoughts and opinions on the film itself. Have you seen it? Is there any other John movies you recommend? Next up in my John Woo marathon is Once a Thief. I'm really excited to watch this film. This is meant to be a bit of an action type comedy. It's a 15, so it's got a bit of violence, which is good. John Woo has not let me down so far, so this is very exciting for me to check out. Let me know, guys, what your thoughts and opinions on this film. Thanks for watching my review, guys. Until next time, it's Amphlett Reviews, signing out.